All right, let her rip, boys. And with the cracking of the Red Bull, hey there, hi there, ho there, everybody. Mindful Pig here today. And yeah, I'm here today. Oh, I forgot to unmute myself on Discord. My bad. That's a good way to start things off. But yeah, this is the Two Tired Dudes podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to be discussing our favorite video game power ups and, which ones didn't stand the test of time and ultimately just became normal features of the game. So, like, I use an example. Back in the day, it was like teleport, warp, whatever term they wanted to use, then got replaced with fast travel. So you no longer need to use magic or scrolls or whatever it was to travel between towns. You eventually got the ability to just fast travel there. Um, Actually, to say that now, Diablo is a very good example of that because Diablo 3, was it 3 or 2? Well, I guess 2 and 3, they both had that feature. But you would buy scrolls of Town Portal. They would send you back to the town always, right? And then eventually you would get these wavestone markers, and that would kind of just replace the scrolls because you really wouldn't need to use them anymore because it would just be so easy to get to where you had to be. Um, yeah, I just thought of that. I was like, oh yeah, Diablo's a good example of that. I'm surprised they haven't phased that out. I'm trying to remember now if Diablo 3 had that. And they did. They did have it, but they replaced the scrolls for an unlimited power, I think it was. That's what it was. You could just always cast Town Portal. So it's pretty much like you had fast travel. But yeah, that's going to be our topic of discussion. I'm also going to be talking with some of the Basement Gaming team members and trying to convince them to play Agents of Mayhem. A little shout there from back in the day, but I recently bought it for about 15. No, I think it was $10 actually. It was a really good deal. Anyway, it was in the country of Mom Lives. I bought it along with Rugby 2015. Excuse me. And yeah, so we ended up. I ended up playing that one, and yeah, I have a lot of positive things to say about that game, and I think, in my perspective at least, that this game kind of got a shit review for no reason. Um, maybe it's just the way my mindset was when I was playing it. But yeah, I think that game got a lot of shit that it didn't deserve. Um, so we're gonna talk about that one. I also posted up a Rethic or a Erethic, Erethic, no Rethic. It's a Rethic, I think. Um, but anyway, yeah. So I posted that game because I've been playing it for the last couple of Wednesdays, and I realized I never really talked about it. And it's another decently fun game that's free to play, and yeah, it just has a lot to offer. I kind of wanted to dive into that one and talk a little bit more about it. And then, of course, I was going to talk about my gameplay on the Switch, which this week was Pokemon Quest, I believe it's called. Yeah, Pokemon Quest. Um, I've been having a great time with that game. It's really satisfied my Pokemon urge. Um, I think I'm close to being done. Like I'm getting close to the end of that island, and it's gonna be kind of sad, I guess, because obviously when you play those kind of games, you just kind of expect them to go on forever. But I don't think it's gonna be that kind of game. I think collecting Pokemon will take a long time. That's for sure. But the actual like story I'm playing right now, I don't think I have much more to go. If if I finish it, but there's like DLC or whatever they want to call it for those kind of games, like it's not even a season pass. I don't know what you'd call it. Like just extra content, I guess. I'll probably buy it. I honestly think I'll spend the 5 or whatever it is to get it because I am enjoying it. It is a fun little game to play on the Switch, and yeah, just a damn good time. In all honesty, I've kind of been having just a crummy ass day, so I'm sorry if I'm a little bit low energy. Um, Work sucks. Like just for lack of better words. Like no one at my work sucks. It's just my boss is my boss is my boss. and he's not the best motivator in the world. So just kind of feeling like bleh today. And yeah, this is the tone I'll probably have for the rest of the podcast. Oh, look at that. Speaking of Pokemon, we got a Pokemon that just popped up. For those of you that are going to listen to the Spotify version of this, I always record this every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Twitch. So when I say record, I mean live. Yeah, so this way guests can pop on and say their pieces. I think lately I've been kind of leaving those in. I used to edit them out back in the day, but now I'm just kind of literally just taking it, editing out the dry parts, or mostly it's me. I never edit out anyone else. I try to always leave what everyone else says in there, because I don't feel right editing it out unless they were to say like, hey, I'm mad, I changed my mind, and like what I said here, take it out. That's never really happened. So I usually just leave someone in. But for myself, I like to always kind of edit my stuff out because there's a lot of times I'll go so I kind of take those parts out. And there's a lot of times there's some dead air too, so I'll usually wipe those out. And so we'll see my intro. Honestly, this whole intro I do before someone comes on, a lot of it kind of gets cut in the editing room. But yeah, sorry, like I was saying, um, the Pokemon game that's on here, Pokemon Appear on Twitch, and then you could just do exclamation mark Poke Catch, and you have a chance to catch that Pokemon. And it's pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty decent game. Because then later on, you could take those Pokemon and you can battle with them, um, in like a Game Boy style. Like it's really neat. Oh, it's so good that Red Bull. Um, if you're old like me, think of Pokemon Blue and Red. That battle scene, that's kind of how it is, but with like gold and silver graphics. It's like decent. Okay. Um. Oh, and I did watch a movie this week as well too. I watched a movie and I rewatched a TV show, House on Haunted Hill. Today I wanted to rewatch it, so we put that one back on. It's not too bad actually. I don't feel as engaged in it though. I think that's my issue. The first time I watched it, like it was really good, right? Because you didn't know what to expect. But now I know the ending, and going into it the second time, there's still good parts. Like don't get me wrong, there's still some parts that I'm just like that was decent writing. Um, but the story I'm finding a little dry the second time around. I'm not as engaged with it. I have to rewatch the second one again. I feel like I wasn't completely happy with the second one as compared to the first one. Um, but now thinking about it, I honestly can't remember how the second one went. Oh, and the movie we watched was it Maleficent? Maleficent? I don't know how to say it properly, but it was pretty fucking cool. I gotta get back to Crystallis too. Okay, I'm gonna dive into a little bit of things while we wait for someone to pop on. Um, so let's go with Pokemon Quest because that one's kind of like a whatever topic. I have a lot to say about it, but like if someone else is on, they probably would talk more about the other games. So let's give Pokemon Quest a chance. So Pokemon Quest is like a Minecraft version of Pokemon. And I can't remember the story they made up for it. Like it really is like put together with glue and paper. Um, Basically, there's this robot that crash landed on an island, and on its island is all the first generation Pokemon, which is so cool. Like it's just, this game's not like old, obviously. Like there's, it would have to have came out like when I was in high school, not even high school, in grade school. Um, for it to be just first generation Pokemon. So the fact that they took a ballsy move and did that was kind of neat. Um, I'm interested, like if it did successful, were they going to add other generations to it, or was it just generation one only? But anyway, so you're on the island, and you get your starter Pokemon, whatever it is. I think mine was Charmander. I mean, it could be anything. Like it's any Pokemon for the first generation. They're not just doing the generic three that you normally start with in the game. So anyway, you get your Pokemon, and then, oops, sorry. Usually, you get two other buddies to join you. Um, and then, yeah, the three of you just go ahead and you start attacking random little areas on this mini map. And then I found out through playing that if you have, like, let's say bug type equipped or flying equipped or fire equipped, you get a little bonus added on to your stats, which gives you an advantage. So, you might have a team with a power rating of 2000, and then the level itself requires 2500, right? So that you have to build your way up. And then they ended up adding these little stones to the game that you can equip to the Pokemon. And every time the Pokemon levels up, a little bit more of another square unlocks. It's really like, I don't know, it has a lot to it, but it's kind of neat. It's really simple once you start playing because really you're just gonna make a team of three Pokemon and put the stones, on that particular team. And then once you're done that level, you go into the next level, switch up your Pokemon, level them up a little bit, add the stones, and then rinse and repeat. But yeah, it's pretty damn good. It's pretty addictive. So to make a bad week even worse, at this point in the podcast, for whatever reason, Restream decided to not record Fun Dead's voice. Pretty much the first like 40 minutes. So I apologize deeply to Fun Dead, because almost your entire dialogue was cut out due to this, and same with JW and Django. I am deeply sorry that we were unable to get the audio from that. I have no idea what happened. In fact, shout out to the Juggernaut because if he didn't raid me, the entire podcast would have been ruined. There would have been no audio minus my own. So, again, not really sure what happened. This is exactly why I usually check everyone's audio when they first pop on, but this podcast I would just felt like playing it safe, I guess, and just rolled the dice, and it ended up screwing me over. So again, I'm so sorry everyone that we lost 40 minutes of the podcast itself. Um, I tried to get at a point where the conversation kind of continued from where I was at. But like I said, we did miss quite a bit of dialogue. So again, I apologize, and I do hope you enjoy the rest of the show. The podcast, of course, was a front today because I'm actually here to tell you guys why you should all buy Agents of Mayhem. So I've been waiting. I've waited to kind of throw this game out there, but okay, I've clocked it at least 7 hours. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you right now, this game was done dirty. This game was done dirty in ways that just isn't fair. It is definitely no game of the year. It's not something that is gonna be a day one purchase. But, hear me out. Hear me out, okay? This game is a lot better than it's getting shit on for. So I kind of talked a little bit with Catchuber about this, or sorry, JW, um, on why I was enjoying it, and just yeah. At first, I was like, okay, maybe it's just like that little bit of bliss when you're playing a game and you're enjoying it. But no, it's been fucking great this whole entire time. Um, Going into the game, um, I had I had the most negative opinion possible because just everything I heard about and all that. I was like, hey, whatever. It's $10 game. It's gonna be shit, but whatever. I spent $10 on it, so my bar was set pretty low when I played this. But it's fucking good. Like it's really good, and I think what I was trying to say to catch or JW, sorry, in the lounge for Discord was when you like read the description of the game, it's not trying to be Saints Row. It's actually just trying to be a rip on the old Saturday morning cartoons. So if you guys ever seen like GI Joe or shit like that, right? It's trying to be that. It's just basically trying to be that. All the cutscenes are done in that kind of style. The dialogue between the characters is all that kind of cheesy nonsense. Like there's the big macho man, right? That you can be. There's the guy that's his name's Hollywood. He's like just trying to be like fucking famous and get likes and all this shit. Or you can be like the drill sergeant girl, or there's a new guy unlocked called the Yeti, and he's like this big Russian like Ice Guide, just fucking ridiculous, like all ridiculous characters. Um, yeah, you got that game? Yes, yes. Okay, three left to go. Okay, okay, and as far as the bug thing goes, I can tell you, I only came across two different bugs, and it wasn't that big of a deal. One boss phased through a wall, and I had to just basically die and go back to the checkpoint, and it was fine. And then there was one random occurrence where I think something hit me, and I went skyrocketing. Okay, there we go. It's all back on again. So yeah, so basically what I was trying to say was, okay, so in the beginning, when you do like basically you go into this place called the Ark. The Ark is where you get all your missions from, right? It's your home base. Borderlands 3, I guess, would be pretty similar to it. It had Sanctuary. Same idea. It's like this big ass ship you're on, and then you can go like to the armory, right, to upgrade your character. You can go to a different spot to do quests, etc., etc. And then you go to the actual home world. I don't know its name. I don't really explore the map because honestly, it's just easier to go mission to mission. But you can. It is an open world. It's like Saints Row 4. There is like a giant open world that you can just kind of explore and go around. But before you enter that open world, you have your 15 agents, and then you just pick the three that you want to use, and you go down. But the part I was trying to tell you on the lounge was, when you pick your three characters, so far, every single time I've entered the world, it's been a different dialogue between the three of them. So in the beginning, you get Hollywood, you get the tank guy with the harpoon, and then you get this really cool girl with two handguns. I love her so much. She's like the best character, I think. I use her quite often. But anyway, so the three of them go in there, and like Hollywood's like giving the tank guy some shit, and he's giving it back to him, and then the girl, says her part. And then I tried switching it up the next time I went down. I was like, okay, I got a new character. I'm gonna throw her into the mix and see what happens. And it was completely different dialogue, not to the point where it's just like it's different lines, like it was different personalities. Like you could tell that certain characters were friends with other friends. Like you could actually notice that in the speeches. Um, the other thing too is there was different dialogue for every single character that would talk to the main headquarters. So the main headquarters would talk to you, right? And depending who she was talking to, the style of that conversation would be a lot different. I tried to replay a few missions just to see like if it was a big difference, and yeah, it was a noticeable difference. So hats off to them for that. Like that's a lot of little efforts to make in that game. The other cool feature I was going to say is that everyone fucking talks about how cool it is to be Kratos, right? And throw the axe and the axe comes back to you. But why was nobody pumped? The Agents of Mayhem did that same idea. Basically, you have a car that eventually you can summon, and I can't tell you how many times I purposely stood in the middle of the road, push the call button. This car will come zooming around the corner, and to get into vehicles, you don't just like walk into them; you literally teleport into them. So it kind of like runs you over, but you take no damage, right? But you literally teleport into the car, and the car is this little smart ass too. It's so awesome. It has like an AI intelligence, so like it'll be like, hey, I got a fresh coat of paint, and then like if you scratch it up, it's like, oh well, never mind. I guess it's gone. Like it just has like stupid like witty lines, right? Or hey, let's test out the boosters on this vehicle. So it's I don't know, it's kind of funny using them. The best is when you leave the car because it always gets a little sad. Like it'll be like, oh well, I guess I'll just wait here for you then, or some stupid shit like that. But yeah, and getting like from point A to point B in that game is incredibly quick with the car, especially you use the boost. I think there'd be like something that'd be like 1,000 whatever meters away in the game measurements, and I would be there in a few seconds. Like it didn't take long at all when you use the boost. Um, the other thing I was trying to give it praise for is that the combat too in the game is unique for each character. Yeah, you're gonna have your favorite team. I'm assuming it's gonna get to that point when I unlock enough of them where I'll be like, okay, this trio is the best. But right now, there's enough of a challenge in there where I do find myself swapping agents. And what was I going to say? You don't get all your agents to begin with. You do have to unlock them, but you don't have to play the entire campaign to do that. You can choose which way you want to go. Right now, I'm choosing to do all the missions that will help me unlock other characters. So basically, you click on whichever one you want to unlock. You get their little backstory that they would have. Once you've done their backstory part, they're a character you can use now. I fucking love the Yeti, and the only reason why I like him is he has a special power up that when you click on it, it's like this hard ass like rock music. It just I don't know, it's just it works really good with him. There's another character I unlocked recently called the Kingpin, and his is he just drops down this giant speaker, and all the bad guys around you will start dancing, and they're defenseless, right? So you just pick them off one by one. Sorry, Catcher, you were gonna say something? I can see that. Like, yeah, it's a shame. Like it has. Wow. Yeah, like I mean, I hope you like it. Like, cause honestly, like I said, like I was shocked. I was shocked by like the effort that was in this game and the shit it got. It's like almost like I don't know. I guess basically it just came down to it's not Saints Row, right? So nobody wanted to touch it. But like yeah, yeah, exactly like that. You're right on the head there. It's so funny you said that because I literally was listening to another podcast and the guy was refusing to buy it because of the reviews, and I was like, "Oh shit, man, you're missing out." Because like, I mean, I know what the reviews said, but like most of you guys I've talked to, it sounds like that game was pretty fucking awesome. Yeah. What was I gonna say? The collectible part in there too was the other thing I enjoyed because I hate collecting stuff in games. Like it's I don't know. I'll do it right for the achievement or the trophy or whatever it might be. Most of the time, it doesn't give you a benefit, but I do like the fact in this game that I think if you collect 8 of these red shards, they make a special power up. And like I was saying before, um, every character gets 3 slots on these special power ups, and it could be anything from you run faster, or when you kill it, or sorry, when you shoot an enemy, you stun it for a little bit longer, whatever the case is, right? And you could use all 3 of those on that one character, or however many characters. And I've been finding these crystals pretty easily. So I think I've gotten 3 power ups already just doing it that way. And then certain missions, I'd say maybe every second mission gives you one of them as well. So I've had enough already where every single agent could have at least one of them unlocked. So that's not too bad. And then on top of that, every agent has 3 slots, kind of like Diablo. So you got your passive ability, you got your special whatever X button ability, and then there's one other I think that's passive as well too. And you can, let's say you pick on the X ability, right? You then have maybe 4 or 5 other different things that you can pick from. So your X ability, let's just say it could be an ice attack or a fire attack, right? Or blah blah blah. And then yeah, then yeah, you can customize that one a little more. And then same with the passive ability. So what's a good example I can give you? The girl with the 2 pistols, she has a special ability where her robot basically like disintegrates everything around her. So I can have that last a little bit longer, or I could have it where my bullets cause her mayhem, which is their special ability, to go up quicker. So yeah, there's a little bit of customization in there that makes the character builds a little more fun. So yeah, Agents of Mayhem. I think you got shit on for no reason. That's basically my long-winded explanation. Nice. I said, hopefully you enjoy those kind of cartoons because it's definitely that level of cheese. like like the bad guy is so funny. Like I love him. He's so ridiculous, and it's that classic like he should be killed every time they come across him, but somehow he gets away, and it's like I'll get you next time. No, you won't. Yeah, yeah, I love it. And the girl too, the one that's in charge of all the agents, she's kind of neat. I like her personality too. She's a little bit like cocky and stuff like that. You know what? No, I think you could have, because that's what Jimmy was telling me. He's like, "Yeah, it sucks because you won't get all the trophies now, because I guess the servers got shut down." But yeah, I guess when it launched, it was a cooperative play, like two people could play together. I wonder if you. Yeah, no worries, buddy. But yeah, so pizza. Hopefully, you get a chance to try it. I think you might like it because we usually have somewhat similar taste on gaming. And at this point, the audio comes back in again. I just wanted to leave that first part in there just so you guys could kind of have an idea of what the conversation was about. And yeah, here's pizza.
Yeah, but I'm sorry to go. Yeah, what JW saying about going back to Ages of Mayhem. That like I'm sure it's a good game now. Not as fully. It's pretty much free. If you go to if you go to the if you sell the seven seed as they say. 'Cause I know you're on stream. I can't say the p word. So, but if you do that, it's free. But I'm sure the game is better now that they had all the bugs squished out. They fixed it, which I'll give them credit. They fixed the game, even though it should have came out pretty much good to go. It probably. I
Two
think
bugs,
that that
pizza. 2 bugs. That's all I had.
yeah, but even though it's that, yeah, I guess that still is, I don't know. It depends on how bad the bug was.
Okay, I was gonna
You
say,
know,
do you give Bethesda games a chance?
uh,
Oh,
yeah, I
that's
I
way
do,
more
and I
bugs, my
think,
man.
oh yeah, and I think that well, yeah. To be fair though, with Fallout, like they have created this reputation. Well, sorry, of course it's a very good reputation. Like everybody trusts how they write their stories, how they present the world. So, it's like we forgave it. Like for example, when Fallout 3 came out, like people. I don't know if it was just from playing Skyrim, but I guess people got used to just the Bethesda bugginess, and so now like for example, I think like that game spawned me, it spawned me. Well, it's not a feature. Sorry, it's not a bug. It's a feature. So I kind of expected that. Like when I was playing New Vegas on my PS3, like that game froze, it crashed, it lagged like crazy. Like I was like PowerPoint levels of lagging, or like even freezing. But that's a game like that is one of gamers' top what 5 games of all time because like that's
Yeah,
I think like if a game is really good at what like just delivering everything and it's buggy, we give it a pass. Like for example, like I think everybody gave Cyberpunk a pass because it's like it's a really good game that was just buggy. I mean like even now, like they're still patching the game and yet it has almost 100,000 reviews on Steam, pretty much all positive. So I guess it just depends on that. You know, had Ages of Mayhem been a Saints Row style Overwatch game, it probably would have gotten, some slack because, then you could use Johnny Gad. Then you can use, other Saints Row characters, and you can make it edgy and make it fun. And then at least then people are willing to give you a chance. But what they did that, like they just pretty much took, they slapped the fans in the face and they said, here's Johnny Gad even though you know he has no he has no real lines in the game. He has no real like place in the game. He's just there. So I mean, is it worse than a new Saints Row game? Absolutely not. I think that Ages of Mayhem is like it beats the reboot of Saints Row because that game, like that's like if you let Gen Z, you let all the woke people make Saints Row. That's kind of what it was. So yeah,
yeah. But see, like, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, right? Like, I feel like in the marketing campaign, like, I haven't got to Johnny yet, so yeah. I'll have to see if I can unlock that character or not. I haven't come across him yet in Agents of Mayhem. Um, but like when it launched, I get it. It's done by the same like developers, so it's in that timeline. Like they do. I don't know. We look at the backstory, right? There is a intercross in that timeline. I can't remember. There's a third game too they have that does the same thing that ties in. Um, with Saints Row. I can't remember the name of it now. But anyway, you have to view it like I said, like as what they're trying to go for. Old like 90s, whatever you want to call it, cartoon. It's not Saints Row. I don't think it's a lot like Overwatch, like just playing it. Like I didn't get that feel of it. I definitely got Crackdown vibes, Saints Row vibes when you're in the world. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't get the Overwatch feeling while playing it. But yeah, like I said, if you were to get out of that Saints Row headspace and just view it like as what it was, I think what it was trying to go for, it was really good. And it's too bad. Like I wish there could have been more in that series because it had the right idea for what it was going for, just the wrong, I guess, advertisement or marketing campaign for it.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, you're right. I mean, like I have played certain like I guess like separate. I have played games that are from the same developer, but something completely different. Like what game was I playing? It was an old PS3 game. I forget what it was. But the style was different. The layout, like just the genre of gameplay it was different. But I liked it though because it's like it was definitely unexpected. Because like I guess I was used to having the whole third person view,
Yeah,
but of course, looking at it differently, I've come to appreciate it, and I think because I kind of took a step back from it. So yeah, I can definitely see how people may like Ages of Mayhem, but yeah, I think that the marketing, well, the marketing really hurt it. So I remember going to get. I don't remember when I get like when it was coming out. Sorry, when it was coming out, I saw the big banner. It said Ages of Mayhem. It had all the characters, and like it was like a 7-foot display of Johnny Gat, like just front and center of the whole logo. So it's like we thought, oh man, they're making this awesome. You get to destroy stuff. Like just having crude humor, fun with Johnny Gat. So I think that's what we were expecting. Then what we got was like it wasn't. I can't say it was a bait and switch because they do have Johnny Gat in it, but I think that it was like carrot on a carrot on a stick, and so
Well,
you
I
know it.
mean, they've been milking Johnny Gat ever since Centro 2. I mean, even in
yeah,
Centro 3, 4, and Gat Out of Hell and all that, he's not supposed to be in any of those games. Honestly, like they're just milking him.
yeah. They really went with
Yeah,
him. He was I don't know, he was a big marketing campaign for them for some reason.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, he
yeah.
was cool in 2. Yeah.
Yeah, like in 2 years really cool, but yeah, after that it was kind of like okay.
Yeah, like I think they know, like for like when Saints Row 4 happened, like I mean, I guess I really wasn't as like happy to see. Well, not necessarily, I was happy to see, like I wasn't like eager to see him because I think like at that point in time, just the way they introduced him, it's like, oh, I didn't die. Like I mean, it wasn't bad, but I think what they should have done in Saints Row 4 is they should have gave, well, I guess they did give Johnny Cat, yeah, they gave him his own little kind of story, but I mean, what it should have been was, like going back in time, like have us play him, like fighting on that plane and seeing what happened afterwards. Like that would have been pretty cool. Like give us just a little bit of backstory, like going back into the old previous Saints Row 3 game. But I don't think that people think like that nowadays. I mean, really, I think even back then, I didn't think about that either until like now that it should have been just, if you're going to retcon a character, or sorry, if you're going to bring a character into, a game without a real I guess, reason, like, sorry, if you're, yeah, sorry, if you're gonna do that, then give us something that can, like, at least, you know, quell the questions we have. Like, for example, like Last of Us Part Two. Like, give us a reason why Joel went out into some random cabin with Tommy. Like, give us maybe a mission, or like give us a playable, we play as Joe walking over there, that kind of thing. Because, like, just like with that, with Agent Man, like I thought, they just kind of put Joel in there and he died. That was it. Like, and it's like he died and, like, that was just no more Joel. So it's, I guess Agents of Mayhem is not on that level of, like, just giving us, like, an abrupt, weird ending of somebody, but like,
Oh
you
yeah.
can definitely draw some parallels to it.
Yeah. You're not, like I said, from the storyline. You're not going to get anything like spectacular. The what you call it, the agents themselves, their little backstories are kind of cool. But again, cool as if it was like a cartoon, right? Like I said, the guy like the Yeti, his backstory was that he was like some Russian like soldier that was like all kick ass and stuff, and they had some experiment go on, and he was willing to be a test subject so he could protect Mother Russia. And he ended up becoming like this huge Iceman. Like it just their stories are ridiculous, but it's cool. Yeah, but definitely, yeah. There's no big story plot to it. It's just a lot of silliness, but which you'd expect, like I said, from those kind of cartoons. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's my take, at least on it. I think it's definitely worth a playthrough. Sorry, I just want to say, hey, Sleepy, I saw you on there. She might be busy. Oh,
I am I am alive. I am here. Hi, hi. How's everyone doing?
and a shout out to Maria, who's been keeping me company in the chat there. Hello, Maria. Um, if you want, by all means, on the side, I don't know if you can see it or not that well, but we have a topic every week that we do for the podcast. You're more than welcome to shout out your opinion on it. Uh, yeah, Sleepy, what have you been up to?
Oh, where do I start my blog?
I
Oh
became a
my
millionaire.
God.
She bought her own island.
Oh, I wish my blog. Jeez, I wanted to work so hard. Damn. Um, so, if I don't, someone should have, someone stuff been happening IRL. Like, I kind of been MIA from streaming and everything that involves the streaming. But, like, I'm hoping to get back on it soon. I was planning something special for streaming, but I don't know if I want to do it just yet. Um, but okay. Lastly, where do I start? Last week, my boyfriend's college graduation last Sunday. Got his bachelor's in electrical engineering. So, whoopee, we're done
Woohoo!
with that. Monday to Wednesday, jury duty. Tuesday was uh, my boyfriend's cousin's high school graduation as well. Um, I'm taking my state board in a couple of weeks, so I've been like studying for that and memorizing over 300 questions and 300 answers, which I am great at. Um,
For a split second there, I thought you said you were taking your skateboard. I was like, holy shit, you can skateboard?
no, 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 no. I barely talk on my only two. I barely talk on my own two feet without tripping. So no, thank you. But I have the boyfriend's family from the UK and Kansas City over at the moment.
Wow.
So I've been showing his cousin from City, Kansas City, all around Sacramento. If you guys didn't know, I'm from Sacramento, so yeah, all around NorCal. And yeah, and then his aunt's daughters are coming from the UK tomorrow.
Wow.
So that I just been so busy with studying and entertaining his family, per se, and working and not trying to die on it. But to be honest, I miss streaming. I miss talking to you guys.
Yeah, that's a
So,
lot of people to entertain. Holy crap.
yeah, so my social battery has been like beyond drained. But definitely hoping to get back on it soon. Like I said, I might do something special. If everything plays out, then I'm gonna that's it probably Sunday. If everything plays out well.
Is it gonna be Valorant or?
No, it's actually gonna be an IRL stream.
Oh.
Yeah. So if everything plays out, everything hopefully plays out correctly, and I'm gonna show a little bit of IRL stuff with me and my mom, just hanging out and just seeing, the funny moments with Mama Sleepy.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, so I really wanna try something different instead of just playing Valorant or Genshin or I wanna actually show people my mom to be a bully to me.
Yeah.
I love her. I literally she's super fun to be around with, and I just thought it'd be fun just to see a mother-daughter date. I guess we call it a mother-daughter date, and just to see what we do when we hang out together. And I was thinking about doing that, but we'll see how the rest of my week goes. But yeah, I've been that's all I've been really doing. I'm hoping I maybe get some streaming in tomorrow, since I have a day off tomorrow as well. Probably play some Valorant and see if we could catch some toxic players or some wholesome players. You never know with Valorant. You never truly know. But yeah, that's basically it. Oh, and I finally watched The Last of Us, the first 2 episodes last night.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, that's ooh.
So, what'd you think?
I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes. It's a masterpiece. I love it. I really enjoy watching it. I can't wait to watch the 3rd episode. I'm hoping soon, but I really enjoy it. I really do like it. But yeah, that's that's all I've been up to.
Nice. All right. Well, this week the topic I had for you guys was favorite power-ups in video games. And then like I was saying, if you wanted to go a little deeper into it, maybe some power-ups that have been replaced by normal gaming mechanics nowadays. Pizza. I'd love to hear what yours is, because you usually get some pretty bangers.
I'm trying to think about a power up. Honestly, I don't even know, because I'm power up.
Yeah, like I was saying, like in one of them, I don't know if you remember way back in the day, right? Warp, teleport, however you want to phrase it. It would be, how you would get through town to town in most RPGs. Slowly got replaced for just fast travel. Right now, we don't really use that ability anymore. I was reminded that recently going back to some old Nintendo games. I was like, oh yeah, you have to use magic to teleport between towns, or you have to use a scroll to do it. Now it's just, you literally just click on the icon and fast travel there.
Yeah, I don't even know if I don't really know of a power that's like ever like came to mind. Because like a lot of times I would just play a game regularly. Although I don't know, I can't really find a good one as of now. Actually, power up. See, that's a good question. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No worries.
So, well, I think just how about maybe not power. Like for example, like augments. Like augments in Deus Ex. I
Yeah.
enjoy. I enjoy when I could upgrade Jensen using different augments. Like plus the best thing about that, it's like it was it was stuff that I could see becoming a reality. Like for example, like being able to see someone's
Yeah.
life, being able to follow a certain path that someone made. Like things like that. Like those technical like augments. Like in my opinion, those are the best for me.
I get that. Sorry, Jesse, you gotta say something about the game too?
No, nothing. Just yes.
Oh, okay.
I agreed with him. Where all these augments is something you could realistically see on in this sort of cyberpunk-esque future, I guess, where it was realistic in some way power-ups. Even the you could not projectiles, but you had some EMP upgrades. And that was the closest thing you would have to a sort of wave attack or AoE attack or the typhoon stuff. And they were all stuff that you could realistically see at some point in the future.
I hope I'm not wrong when I say this, but I feel like that Deus Ex is like a series, right? And I feel like I really missed out on it because I've heard you guys talk about it a few times, and it sounds like a really good game. I should,
Well,
I should probably.
the thing is the original Deus Ex is really good, but it has aged poorly, so I can't
Oh,
recommend it to anyone to play it today, even with mods. I mean, I've tried to replay it recently, and I've had trouble, even though I love the story of that game. But Human Revolution, yeah, for sure, is really good. Mankind Divided didn't have. I didn't think it had a really good story, and it was super stretched out. Like if it was done on purpose to have a third game that never came. So yeah, Human Revolution is really good because it's great on all fronts, and Mankind Divided was better in some of the side quests were better than the main quests. That's how good the writing was for that second game. So. But yes, it's a series that had a couple of weird entries and good entries.
I'll have to add that one to the birthday list then, because yeah, I kind of want to try it just to at least experience it, so I have an idea of what it was like. Um, sorry, pizza though. So that was your pick for one of your favorite power ups.
Yeah, because that's really. I mean, yeah, because with the games I play nowadays, like I mean, if it's other than Apex, like there's like other shooting, like Call of Duty, that kind of stuff. So I mean, I don't think I don't think that like the abilities in Apex are like really noteworthy because I mean, you know, if it it's just not really all that like attractive to me. But yeah, I mean like
I get that.
Deus Ex is the only game that I can think of that like had memorable ability, like just abilities and upgrades. Everything else, it's just like, you know, uh, it's just not. For example, like some people may look at, like floating in the air or like being invisible as like a really cool power. But I mean, like, I don't know, invisibility, like that's, I don't know, maybe it's just not me, but I think it's kind of a lame gimmick. Unless it's an augment where, like you have like, you can
I
let me
can't
see.
speak.
So in Deus Ex, when they had the augments, even though like it was things, like you have super strength, you have super speed, you have all, you have these baseline what everyone else has. The thing that made it different in Deus Ex is that every augment had a history. It had some sort of like it had text to it. It's like like for example, becoming invisible. It would say these nanites combined can make the user, blend. Like this, the wordage made it sound very techy, very like, oh wow, like this, like I'm learning something from it. So that's why I picked that game as my Power Bliss.
As I say, I don't know if Apex had the same thing happen, but I agree with you. Like invisibility is kind of shit in most games, because the minute you fire your weapon or you attack something, you usually become visible again, right? Like that's usually the catch in most games with invisibility. I say I can't remember if Apex did the same thing too. If the character became revealed once they shot their gun. Um, but yeah, I know most games seem to do it that way.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, like it's just at that point, why even have it? Because
Yeah.
I mean, knowing me, like if I'm playing a shooting game, why give me invisibility if it's gonna go away? Now, of course, the only exception is Crisis, because at least a Crisis, like they, again though, it's augmentation. So maybe I think that's why it works for both Deus Ex and Crisis, because like it's more I guess it's plausible things, because like and like it's just plausible things that given the right circumstances you could kill somebody and still remain invisible. But like in a lot of other shooting games, RPG games, it's like, oh, you're invisible until you hit somebody. Like, then take it out. Then I don't want that. That's a waste of resources.
You know, speaking of like Apex and all that too, um, double jump. I didn't realize just like how far we've come in video games until who was it? Star Wars, the Jedi game, made that an ability to unlock. What a fucking game changer! Like, wow, having double jump, it really makes a world of a difference. And when you don't have it, like it hurts. It hurts in gaming. I don't know. I've gotten so used to it just being like automatic now, most of them. But when that game made you have to like learn that ability, yeah, wow. What about you, Jesse? Do you have any favorite power ups?
Um, Not in particular. I don't know. I rarely have like favorite weapons or power ups from games in general. It's more like from this game, this is my favorite weapon. From that game, like I don't ever compare this weapon from this game compared to this other weapon from this totally different game.
That makes
So it's
sense.
hard to say, but if I would say something memorable, I would say probably when you go into, I guess, demon form in Devil May Cry, because you get all your move sets are not only more powerful, but you get so many more moves and interesting stuff too. Uh, so I would probably say that's the most memorable for every weapon as well, not just for one. So
Oh wow, okay.
I always remember that. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, well,
especially I'll specify from the Devil May Cry starting from 4, I would say it really develops a lot on those fronts.
Ooh, okay.
Because I think from 1 to 3, it's just demon form you hit stronger a bit or something. But starting from 4, you had all sorts of different moves and stuff, and 5 just really knocked it out of the park because you have like demon mode or something, and then you have full demon form, which is like double uh, power up, I guess, and you have like these world-ending moves, and it's super cool.
So yes, that's another game series I have to try out.
Oh, for sure, and it has aged well. I would say you could skip 2, but otherwise, it's pretty good.
I say most games, like when it comes to that, because you're talking about that one. The only one I can think of that I played that's kind of similar for transformation is the Darkness. I think it was Darkness 2 I played, um, where like the main character Jackie can have the demon take over, and then he gets like all these cool abilities. But yeah, most games they have like a transformation ability between good and evil. It's usually really cool. Like most of them execute it pretty well.
Yeah.
Definitely better than invisibility. Um, Sleepy, what about you? Has there ever been like a favorite power up or upgrade or some sort that you liked?
Uh, I'm kind of with JW on this because like each game kind of varies on kind of like depending on the game. But for like for a simple game like Genshin, probably being able to like move the time, I guess that makes sense. Like you can adjust the time to where you need to be at. Especially and I think that's basically time travel, I guess. To put it simple, time
Like
travel.
like if you want to have like it on day or night cycles, like what do you get to do for the time travel? Like how does it affect your game?
Yeah, and it's because I think in Genshin you're allowed to like change the time, so you have to do like 12 o'clock. But if you like have a like if you want to continue the story for that if you want to continue that story, I guess like, you're able to change from like 12 o'clock in the evening to like 6 o'clock p.m. I guess.
Oh, okay,
That
okay.
definitely, yeah. So that definitely helps you just like just sitting around waiting for 6 p.m. to hit.
That's so true. Yeah, I was.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, I get bored really fast. So like if I have to wait all that time, I'm like, okay, on the next game. you know. So it's time travel and able to adjust time definitely some of power ups.
That's a.
I would
Okay,
say.
well, I have to go. So until next time.
Oh yeah, no worries, buddy. You have a great one.
Yeah.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
That's actually a good shout, Sleepy, because you know what that made me think of right away was Legend of Zelda and what do you call it? Well, any Bethesda game. So like in Legend of Zelda, the reason why I think of it is you have to play the flute, sorry, right, to travel either day or night cycles. Um, and
Yeah.
and then Bethesda games kind of like eliminated that whole thing by having the wait system. So now you can literally just push one button, wait 12 hours, and your character would fast travel 12 hours into the future, and you would just continue on with whatever quest it is. But yeah, wow, I totally forgot that it used to be like a feature in games. Like you have to actually either wait for the time to change, or you'd have to have some special spell that would help you, like you said, time change.
Yeah, it's because like I get bored really fast with like games. If I have to sit there and wait for a certain time, I'm just like, well, on to the next one. So I'm gonna sit here and wait 12 hours just for it to get to the time I need to be. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
No, that was a good one. That's a good show. I totally forgot. Yeah, that was used to be a thing back in the day.
Well, it was helpful because it definitely kept you engaged to the game. Cause like, well, I don't want to wait this time. So, but yeah,
You know, it also
it's a lot of. I feel like a lot of games don't have that these days.
also sucks
Or
though.
like,
Pizza. I don't know if you have the same thing doing this. Is lives in video games. Speaking of older games, like fuck that shit. Where you lose all your lives, you have to like restart all the way back at level one again. I hate that shit so much.
I hate that. I hate that. I'm like, bro.
Yeah, that's annoying. I was playing Crash Bandicoot earlier. Well, like the remaster of it, playing the first one, and like that game is really just it's a cheap game because like for example, like well, it's fine until it's like the third part of the game. It's there is this it's like a long bridge you're on
Yeah.
that level. It's the worst one because everything is about timing and about getting lucky. Because like I think I have like I had 8 lives and I lost all of them. Like just before the halfway point, I lost all my lives again and again because it's like it really is just a game about like learning how to land on certain wood boards that don't crack. Some of them might fall off. I'm like, this is too much, And then, of course, the level after that, like it's just that's the worst level in my opinion because in that one, you only get like two checkpoints, one at the middle and one before the end of the whole thing. Like, why give us that? So, you have to really be lucky to not lose because, like, if you lose it, it's back to the beginning of the level, and depending on how hard it is, it could take you a while. So, yeah, I hate games that I hate games that give you a life system but make the but like make it super challenging for no reason.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Right, where they just make it like ridiculously difficult. It's like you didn't have to do it this way.
Oh yeah, I mean, now to be fair though, I I don't I guess I've kind of grown away from games that give me like like the whole like don't kind of easy, harder, medium, or hard, that kind of thing. 'Cause like I think I have been spoiled by Dark Souls, by games like Diablo, or like just like even like Dead Island, like games where they scale with your character, which I think is amazing. So, I think for me, it's like, I think after a while, I don't know. I don't know. Well, of course, with that, and also just like for example, I was watching a YouTuber. It's like a lot of them. Like they choose medium because it's like, oh, well, easy is too easy. I'm like, okay, I guess easy might be just a too much. It may be too easy of a thing. So I just kind of stopped playing games that give me, difficulty settings. In favor of games that, like for example, Diablo. Path of Exile, really any RPG game where, if you choose medium or hard, you get more loot. You get harder enemies, but better loot, better weapons, that kind of thing. So, like, even though I don't like the whole, like, I don't like the whole game kind of being unfair when you go down the line and giving you lives. I also don't like having the whole choosing your own difficulty because for me, it's like, if I choose easy, what if the game goes from like 8 hours to 2 hours? Like like that kind of thing where it's like I wasted all this money doing something like this. So, I think that, I have been predisposed to just kind of go away from the whole difficulty thing.
I get that. I do. Because we were talking about that, right? I was thinking of even like achievements. I know it's not a big deal for a lot of people, but achievement trophies, whatever the case is, how many of them, on there say like, beat the game on normal, beat the game on hard, beat the game on this, right? It's just like, no, I just want to beat the game. Like, I don't want to do it on all these different modes and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
I don't mind when it has like new game plus. That one's like a different experience. But I agree with you, Pizza. I get why difficulties is something that should probably disappear from gaming. We should just have, like you said, scale the game based on your level.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's just me though. I just, I think after playing so many games, I just kind of, like they were able to find a way to make the choice, the whole difficulty choice, either automatic or they reward you for what you're doing. So that's kind of why I just stick with that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just really for me though, And I know that I know a lot of games nowadays they have the difficulty settings. So, a lot of times I'll just choose medium
Yeah.
just because it's like it's just down the road, And of course, I have played games. I have played a few games where easy was just it was just hard light. It was still brutally hard to do,
Oh God,
and I'm
yeah.
on easy.
What's that one
So you
series? Ninja Gaiden. I think that's the one that does that to you.
Probably, yeah, probably so. It's like certain games. I think that certain games they kind of, they kind of want you to suffer, and so
Yep.
putting a difficulty is just, it's just a facade, which I can appreciate that because at least then it's like, like I want to get my money's worth out of a game, and I think that when you put easy mode on something, you're kind of just saying, oh, well, if you want to just have fun, if I want to have fun with the game, I'll buy it at half price. Because, it's like, yes, I want to have fun with the game. But, like, if you have mechanics in there, if you have a great story, like, either you have depth to it, and you have a story mode. Like, for example, Divinity, Original Sin, they have this, they have story mode. They have and they have three modes. It's like easy, normal, or hard. But in those modes, they call it story. It's like, for example, the easy mode is just, you want to look at the story, and like if you want to play the game to watch the story, you pick the story mode, the easiest one. And then it's like
Yeah.
harder. It's like perma. It's like it's like a more intense one life mode, and that's hard mode. Like, if you do it like that, different story, then I would definitely play the game back and forth, because now it's like you've given me kind of a gimmick with the difficulty. Like, I want that.
I say I did notice that recently, yeah, that a lot of games have started to take out easy mode and just replace it for story mode, which is true, right? I mean, like, yeah, if you just want to play it for the story, like, there's the easiest difficulty. Sorry, I was gonna give a quick little shout out to Tommy because he shouted out two power ups. Power up number one that he enjoyed was the gadget that lets you time travel on the fly in Titanfall 2. I'm I played Titanfall 2 all the way through, Tommy, but I'm just trying to really think what that one was. I know
Oh
that
yeah,
I know like
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's so that part. Like, that's the one where, like, when you're going through one of the old buildings. It's like it's full of, like, robots and dinosaurs, that kind of thing. Yeah, like that is a really cool feature, because it's all about parkour. So, it's like, you're running on walls, you're jumping on a place, and you're doing it back and
oh
forth in reality. It's like, that is the only game where time travel is, like, really good. 'Cause,
yeah,
it's like,
I
like,
forgot.
I'm sorry. Okay,
No, no,
I,
no, no,
I
pizza. Thank you for shouting it out because I totally forgot that that was the feature in that game. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was a good one.
I mean, but of course, I mean, with Titanfall, though, it's a good game on its own merit. You know,
Yeah,
because so you have shooting and parkour. Like, I mean, a lot of games don't have it nowadays. In fact, I don't think any game has parkour at all. Well, sorry, they don't have shooting parkour anymore, which is like that's amazing. So yeah, like, having that level, it was really cool. I mean, to me, I had the most fun on that mission alone. Like, just being like to kind of hop through things, like, just change realities. Like, that was pretty fun. So yeah, he had a good idea on that one.
yeah. Titanfall 2 in general was just a really good campaign. I hope they make a third one because yeah, that was great. And the second one he had was the Tanaki suit in Super Mario Brothers 3, which is yeah, that was a cute little power up. That was a good one. And then sorry, what was your last comment there? You said Tommy. Uh, it's hard making games with just the right difficulty. Example: his slime climb level in Fall Guys. Not the hardest, but still really hard. Might deter some players. You're right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, difficulty settings can. I mean, look at Dark Souls, right? There are people that will never play that game because it's just too hard for them. So difficulties definitely can sway certain gamers.
Yeah, and I think that's why people say good. They say get good, because
Ah,
which, I mean, I, now, to be fair though, back then, I hated that term, because it's like, it almost felt, like, it was like, it was patronizing. It's like, oh man, like, I don't, like, they were saying it, say, you suck at the game, do better. It's like, I hated that, like, that whole group mentality of it. But I think as time went on, and I started playing games where they took out the options for, playing the game on a certain style. It was just more along the line of, here, you go in the game and just play it. If the game is hard, then chances are you need to fix that. So, I guess for me, I guess to, kind of, to give a perspective on Tommy's comment, I just, someone who played those kind of games, for me, I enjoy games kind of letting me do my own thing, and they say, if you want to do the easiest thing ever, here are the tools to do it. But if you want a challenge, you can go and do that. So like there was no real like hand holding. It really was just play the game, and if you die, then you suck, or if you die, then you die and do something else. So that's just me though. I know that for some people, like little Timmys, not Tommy though. Tommy's cool, but like little Timmys who, like they want to play games like, they want easy games like Fortnite and Overwatch. So so I get it. I get the sentiment for it. I think it's just that when you have played different styles of games, like difficulty kind of just becomes one of those things where it's like, I mean, I don't really care what difficulty is. I just want to play the game. Just don't make it too easy for me because it's like, you know, like for example, what if somebody made a game that was designed to be 2 hours long, but with the difficulty up in that, with the difficulty, choosing hard, you may have to play the game for 8 hours. Whereas if it's on easy, it may take you an hour to beat. Like imagine if someone did that, that game would be universally panned because all the casuals playing on easy will be done with it. So that's how I look at it though. I know that's a very it's a very arrogant view, and I'm sorry if that is. I just, that's just how I view difficulty spikes these days. It's just, like how it could be easy. It could be so easy that I could finish it in a day. So that's just my take on it, of course.
No, I think that's a good take. Pizza, like, I mean, I get it. At the end of the day, right? Like, you're paying money for a game. You don't want it to only be an hour, like you said, an hour long, or even like Jesse brought up JW, with Miles Morales only being 10 hours, right? I mean, I'm not sure if that one had a difficulty setting, but let's just say what it did, right? And say easy mode, you could beat it in 7 hours. Well, now the game's even more disappointing, right? Like, yeah, when you're putting value into something, you want that you want that to match the dollar that you're putting into it.
Exactly.
Um, there was a podcast actually I just watched again. Not to keep ripping on this podcast, but sometimes it has I don't know. Sometimes he has some takes on there. I'm just like, I don't know, buddy. But he made a comment on there I was listening to today, and what was it now? He was saying that he disliked how people say that uh, games are just too expensive now, and how they're like the same price that they were back in the N64 days. I was like, no, that's not right. That's not right at all. Actually,
Yeah.
games are definitely more expensive now. And on top of that, I said I think people get upset because it's true. Like back in the day, yeah, sure, there were some games that were buggy mess, like Superman 64, things like that. Um, sometimes you got burnt, right? But most of the time, games were pretty decent. Like there wasn't really many bugs that would ruin your experience. Where nowadays, right, like you have, like you said, day one patches, you have multiple patches coming through. So I think, yeah, in my opinion at least, I think games do cost too much. I mean, I'm well aware that it takes millions of dollars to make some of these games. But in the same breath, right, I mean, if we're talking like Call of Duty, there's going to be another one next year as well, right? Is it really worth slapping that $90 price tag on every year? Probably not. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think I still think video games should be a lot cheaper than what they are. I don't think we should have went above that $60 mark, or at least 70. I think spending $90 on a game is kind of ridiculous. I also think spending $150 on a brand new controller is kind of ridiculous, but
Hey, you're right. You are absolutely right on that. And to be honest with you, like I think, oh, sorry, like before our last podcast, I didn't know that people are saying, like $90 in their country. I thought, like, I thought like $90 like some kind of special edition. So I never knew that, games over here were expensive in your country, which is even worse. Because
yeah.
it's like, I mean, you're putting down almost $100 on a game that may or may not even work. Like I think that's criminal. I think because like for example, when Anthem came out, like that game was just terrible, and people put down like people were buying these super duper these super duper edition games, it's like it would cost like 150 USD for a game of like all these goodies. It's like, and
Yep.
when the game came out, though, guess what? It was a failure. It was a flop. Just like Avengers, Marvel's Avengers, like that game came out and it was just hated. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know who that guy on the podcast was, but I don't think Actually, you know what? Even in general, like on Twitter, I hate that argument where it's like, well, back then, you know, because of inflation, like I don't. That is not a good excuse because it's like even if you had inflation, whatever, they are still expensive. Like if like for example, like sorry to go back, why was why is $70 now the new thing when back then it's like $50, $60. Like
Yeah.
what was wrong with $50 though? Like I thought that was fine. I mean, at least to me, 60 made more sense. So why change the price now? And then of course people are saying that how COVID happened, how inflation happened. But look, in
Yeah.
that case, how come we have games that are coming out that cost $40 still? Like those games should be 70 as well. So, like the argument kind of falls apart when you have indie games coming out that cost $20. Like inflation or not, that's not a good excuse. I think that people, like they're deriding all these corporations. Like they're hoping that they get some money from these people by accepting the $70 mark. But all they're doing is they're just, they're getting slapped around, and they're being told to pay $70, well, USD, of course, you know, or in this case, URD in that case, and you're paying that you're paying that kind of money, plus you're paying for microtransactions. So it could be 70 plus 60 or 70 plus 80. Like I mean, like at that point in time, you could buy a PS3. Like that's how insane it is. It's
Yeah.
like I'm sorry, that's sorry. Just I got off on a just trying to get
No, no, I completely
like
agree with the pizza because, like, to back your point up, right? Like, why charge so much money when you literally put it like on Game Pass and it's $0 and you're just paying that subscription fee, or it's on PlayStation now has their version of it too, right? Like, I mean, just stop charging that kind of money. It's so pointless. Like, you're not winning the fight against those video game streaming services in that case, right? Like, yeah, it's like who the hell's gonna pay $90 when I could pay $15 and have 100 games I could play this month? Like, I don't know.
oh yeah, I agree. I think it's even more insane. The fact that people, like of course, like when they had the PS5 games costing $70. So let's see, you have I guess I'll include um Spider-Man. You have that one. You have the sequel coming out. So that's two games for $70 a piece. That's 140. You have Returnal, that was also 70. You had Last of Us Part Two, that was 70. That's four games that cost $70. Like that's like what? That's how much is that? That's 28. That's 280. Yeah, 280. You
Yeah,
include you include Ratchet and Clank, which is also 70. You include Ghost of Tsushima, so that's that's six games that cost, yeah, like six times seven. That's you're paying 420 for six games. You could
you can
buy
almost get a PS4. Like,
exactly. Like you could buy a PS5 at that point. Like that's how crazy the pricing is now. That people don't seem to get 10 games equals a console. Like that's insane. You know,
yep,
like I mean,
I agree.
like I don't know. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. Like maybe people, they have accepted that, oh, the developers worked hard, they deserve the extra money, all that good stuff. Which I mean, look, if you want to bless the developers, you have Cash App and Venmo. They have Twitter. You talk to them personally and give them money. So I mean, as far as I know, from what people have been kind of telling me, like most of the money goes to the corporation. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like I don't think that most developers are really kind of jumping in the air saying thank you, Sony, for the paycheck. Because if they're getting paid good money, nine times out of ten, people will know. People will talk about the money they're getting paid. If it's good money, well, sorry, yeah, if it's good money, they will absolutely be on Sony's D all the time, talk about how great they are, but they aren't. You know, they do. You know, like they're just kind of doing their thing and being done with it. You know, 'cause like I have seen it though. Like I have seen the difference with workers when you pay them good money, they start to, like they start to actually promote the business inadvertently, like, they'll talk about how great Sony is, they'll talk about how great Xbox is, because like you're giving them
Oh
all
yeah.
these features, but if you don't really pay them anything, then it's like, they don't really give their praises to Sony, they just say, oh, I work over here, whatever. So, you know, if you want to bless the developers, you can do it personally nowadays. Everyone and their mom has a Twitter account. You can go and email them saying, "Hey, what's your name? Oh, your name is Michael. What's up, Michael? Can I send you like pictures and stuff? No, I'll send you money then. That kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, if you really like that game and you want to support that company, encourage them to make another one, you're right. You can make it a lot more personal now. I mean, hell, half of them probably have their own Patreon or something going on, right, where you can fund them and keep that project alive and going. Sorry, Tommy was going to shut a few things there. He was just saying that games nowadays have way too many checkpoints, which is true. There is quite a bit of that now. And then as far as the topic goes for buying games, Tommy was saying that's why he prefers renting games over buying them. And the last part was just that, yeah, when you buy digital games, you should be careful because you don't really physically own those games. So once the servers go down, those games go by forever. And that's very true, Tommy. You're right. I might have 100 games today because of Game Pass, but if they decide to take that away, then I just lost out on 100 games. That's a good point to make.
Oh, definitely. And of course, not only that, but if you buy a digital game and it sucks, some places you can't even return it. So like that's even worse. Like
Yeah,
imagine paying, like you're paying a cool 60, for that kind of game, then it's like, oh, it sucks now. Then of course, you probably played over 2 hours of it, so now you can't get refund. Like, I mean, of course, you know, Steam and Xbox, they're pretty forgiving of things, but I don't know how Nintendo or Sony is. They may just say when you buy the game, you're SOL. So definitely, it's one of those things where you have to really trust the developer, the game you're playing, and yourself really about, do I want to buy this game digitally? Because if not, then I would just say get it physically. Which I mean, for most games nowadays, you can find a copy of, Spider-Man for like $40 for PS4 or PS5. You can find Returnal for half off. So it's not hard to get the physical games, but yeah, when you're doing digital, if someone says bye bye, then yeah, it's bye bye, and that's really it. So I agree with Tommy.
yeah,
Yes, renting games now. I mean, like Game Pass has become, Game Pass, PS Now, PS Plus, EA Play, Ubisoft, like all these different things. They have become kind of the new normal because people realize that well, at least sorry, I'm assuming they realize that for some gamers, you know buying a game full price nowadays is that's risky. So if you let us play the game, like I guess we're playing kind of a demo for a month kind of thing. Maybe by doing that, people can kind of they can trust it and buy the game digitally. So if that's their game plan, then I think it works because I think there are certain games where I have actually bought the full game or I bought DLC for it. Like for example, Just Cause, World War Z, the Hot Wheels game. Like certain games, I will actually go my way and I'll buy the little DLC or I'll buy the game myself because it's that good. So renting games works. Sorry, renting games work. Although having the demo of a game is even better, but that's gone are the days of having demo discs or even having demos for most games nowadays. You know, I don't get why they
yeah,
stopped doing that because like that's kind of I bought a lot of my games through demos because that's just, that's kind of how it is. Because like watching YouTube videos, even though people say, oh, it's a 9 out of 10 or it's a 2 out of 10, I can't tell, because like I'm watching someone else play the game, and if I can't, if I can't like have it in my hand physically, that's like I don't know if it's really worth. I don't know if their opinion is worth that much of my trust, because like I mean, like for example, Elex, like people said it is like a like 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, but I mean for me, it's one of my top 10 because when I played it, like I actually felt it was like really good. Of course, there was no demo for it, so I kind of had to buy it on sale, but it was like $5. So I mean, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. Then
Yeah, so it's such a shame, eh? Because like, yeah, you're right. It just takes a few bad reviews, right? And people won't even pick that game up. Like, I mean, like you mentioned earlier, but I tried Marvel's Avengers. Like it wasn't terrible or anything like that. But I mean, I get it. There wasn't a lot of hype behind it. But again, right? It's same with Agents of Mayhem and other ones we talked about before, right? But sometimes those games, yeah, they get such a bad reputation. It's like, you know what? It wasn't even that terrible. Like it really, it was kind of exaggerated.
no, I mean, and like you're right though. So, like I think for a lot of these games, like I guess at the time they were bad, but I think like I think after we have seen the we have seen modern as pick, we have seen games come out to the point where they are just buggy, like they're so bad.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like it's like
No Man's Sky, right?
oh yeah, like I think like back then, I don't know what game came out that was like a huge issue back then, but like, I guess maybe Ages of Mayhem. Like even though the game was buggy and a mess, you know, if we compare it to how like if we compare like to I guess Cyberpunk, we compare it to Anthem, we compare it
Yeah.
to
Well, Cyberpunk's a good show too, because yeah, when that came out, it was kind of a mess, and now it's worked its way around, right? Like I was saying, just like No Man's Sky. When No Man's Sky came out, it was kind of a mess, but now it's a well, acknowledged game. Um,
oh yeah, I'm trying to. What there was a game that came out that was just so bad. Oh, Forspoken. I mean,
oh yeah, yeah,
I think I think like back then, like you know, we can say it wasn't bad back then because of course, back then, well sorry, looking at it hindsight, we can now see that, a game like No Man's Sky, you know, No Man's Sky Day One looked like a full game in comparison to Forspoken Day One. Or even, what game there was a game that came out recently that was just so terrible. I don't know what it's called, but that game was so bad that people looked at Forspoken like, oh, I'm sorry, it was a good game. In the end, it was just we were just the bar was so low, and then of course it got lower recently. So I think I think that over time our expectations were just kind of they were getting lowered every time. So the last controversy isn't so bad. Ages of Mayhem is now a good game in comparison to whatever game we have now. So I think you're right though. Looking back at it, it really wasn't that bad. We were just kind of exaggerating because we wanted better, and then out of nowhere we got worse because why bother giving us quality content when you can get $60 out of somebody just for saying, oh, we made, we made The Witcher, we made Saints Row, we made stuff, like, people will now kind of look at the branding and just say, okay, we trust you, because, like the track record, like I mean, we have seen the track record of all these games, but I guess nowadays, you know, we just kind of care about who made the game now. Like, oh, the guys who made Battlefield are making this new game that looks like a scam. I'll still buy it. Like that's kind of where we are now. So, I
it's true. Yeah, I
that
kind of miss just being excited over like a new game in general, right, and not focusing on who actually made it.
oh yeah, because I mean it's like, I think oh, that's right, Gollum. Yeah, the Gollum. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Yeah, that game was so bad that people looked at first book and said, you know what though, it's not a bad game. I looked at you too hardly. And but yeah, and then of course when Gollum came out, that was just like I don't know how a game like Lord of the Rings comes out. I'm sorry, yeah, you know that game. Like you have the biggest franchise ever, and you make a game
Yeah.
about Gollum, which I mean, I get it though. He is a character in Lord of the Rings. He has some reason to be there, but I mean, like you're making a game about him when you could have made you could have made a game about the elves. I don't know what the name was. Like who's that guy? The elf guy. Forgot his name.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
But the archer.
I know what you mean though. Yeah.
I wish I knew his name. I say Leonidas. But make a game. Like make a game about him, or make a game about
There's
Bilbo.
so many characters. You're
Yeah,
right. You could have made it about the hobbits for Christ's sake, so we would have played that more enjoyable than Golem. I agree with you. I like I don't want to criticize it because it could be a great game, but just like when I saw it, I was like, that's not for me. And I think Lord of the Rings, that's not exactly the kind of gameplay I'm looking for.
oh yeah. I don't think that. I think that people when they think about Lord of the Rings, they think about Gandalf. They think about Sauron. They think about yeah, the hobbits. They think about Isengard. Like they think about the big battles. Like that's kind of
Yeah,
that's what we expect out of Lord of the Rings. Like that's really where they put all their focus on. Like if you can't give us that, then don't bother. Because I mean, you're giving us a game about the guy who says "my precious" to a ring, which I mean, you could have just it could have been a mobile game and it would have been better. At least it's like you know it's there. People who like Golem, which I mean, it's like probably you know 2%. Actually, no, sorry, like 0.2% of the population in the world, or even like even in the whole like Lord of the Rings, I guess fan space might play it, but yeah, they just I don't get it. Like I don't understand that. Maybe they maybe they relate to Gollum, which I mean that's a red flag if you ask me, because you know that's that is the worst person you can actually like relate to. You could,
so true.
I mean, like like maybe if they had made a game about Gandalf, like that would have been a really good game because it's like I mean he's a wizard. Like I mean, yeah, yes, we have Harry Potter, but I mean, like you're giving us the OG wizard, like that would have been a lot better. But of course, why ask the fans what they want? We can just make whatever you want to. I mean,
I agree. I
like
agree, Pizza.
we really could have had a really good Star Trek game, like a really good next generation, just MMO or like even like a co-op game. But apparently, they don't want that. They
Well, I don't know if
don't
you
want to
ever
give
got the
us
chance to
that
play it.
time.
I don't know if you ever got the
But
chance to
I don't
play it
know.
or
It's just
sorry, I was gonna say I don't know if you got a chance to play or not, Pizza, but they even like I don't think these three characters are in it, but there was a game called Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. It was a action RPG game, and it had nothing to do with any of the characters from Lord of the Rings. They had three characters they made up, and they kind of just entwined it in the story, and it was good. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you're right. When it comes to big franchises like that, you could take multiple directions. Yeah, just yeah, weird that they took Golem as their direction.
yeah. But I don't know. Maybe they're just gonna ideas and say, oh, let's just pick someone now because why not? Which I mean, even then, it's like even if you're on a time crunch, why choose that guy? Like, like when if somebody said Lord of the Rings to me, I would think of Gandalf like instantly because
Yeah,
like he is the face of Lord of the Rings anyway. It's like I mean he is the that's the guy that everybody goes to. Like he is the main he is the center of attention. How about that? That's what he is. So like him, Dobby. Um, I don't know his name, the elf dude. I should know his name. I have like him all the time, but I can't. I don't know his name. But I'm sorry. That sucks. Cause it's
No,
like
it's okay. It's I'm the same way. I've heard his name so many times. Right now, I'm just like, yeah, I really can't remember that
yeah,
guy's name right now.
yeah. I know it's not Loki, but you know,
No, you're right. I think you're on the right track. It is an L of some sort.
yeah. Let me see. I should. Let me see. Elf from Lord of the Rings. I bet it's. Let me see. Oh, maybe it's Hobbit. I don't. Let me see. Oh,
Legolas. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, like, I think about him as, it's like, I mean, he's a badass in the movie anyway. So, like, you have
Yeah,
plenty of people who you could use as a inspiration. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen Lord of the Rings since they did the siege on the castle. I'm not sure which one I was, but yeah.
I think that was one of the last ones. Yeah. But like even okay, so the game itself looks like it's stealth based. So just listing everything you did. I mean, you could even gone hobbits, and that would have been a better stealth game. Because at least I mean, I'm sure Golem could use weapons, but I don't know. I feel like a hobbit would be a little more enjoyable combat style.
Oh yeah, plus I mean, and even they, yeah, stuff can come, because like at least then if you do get in trouble, you can actually fight the people. But you can fight back. So it's like, I mean, they had the perfect chance to really make something just spark. So I don't know. Maybe on the sequel, maybe they'll have maybe they'll have a cutscene where you have who's that guy? I think it's Dobby. I don't think it's Dobby. That's someone else. That's the what's that? That's from Harry Potter. That's what it was. Not
Oh,
yeah. That's not. Who was that guy? The Hobbit. What's his name? Oh yeah, Bilbo. Yeah,
Bibble, yeah.
I think it'd be funny if like if they had a cutscene where Gollum was like just running around like and like you had Bilbo like just like cut his head and just say my time now.
Yeah.
That would have been super funny. And at least then like then it's like, I mean, it'll be a good way to just say that game is dead now. Here's the actual game we wanted to make back then. Like that would have been amazing. It would have been, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that's how I see it. You know, maybe I think I'm gonna try it out one day. I mean, 'cause, I have PC, so I can just go ahead and do the I can do the P word because I don't want to say it on stream because I don't know how Twitch is. But I can do that and see how it is. Maybe it's good, and maybe just all the hate we're getting, all the hate we're kind of putting on there is just it's misplaced because maybe next year or maybe even tomorrow they'll release a game that's like a multi-million-dollar thing and it just becomes the worst thing ever. Like maybe they release GTA 6 and it's worse than like Gollum. Like I mean,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of big companies, right, that have had a few flops this last couple of years. So yeah, you have no idea what could get released and turn out to be a disappointment. I mean, I don't know about you, but even if a game gets a bad review, I'll always play it just to have my own opinion on it, right? And like I said, sometimes I'm surprised, and sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, this game was real crap. I don't know if you're a player or not, but Kane and Lynch 2, Dog Days. I hate that game so much, but I will play it because I like the challenge behind it. But it is terrible. Like there's lots of bugs, there's lots of crap going on. It's extremely difficult for no reason. Um, yeah, again, back to my point. If a game gets like a shitty review, I'll usually still try it because yeah, most of the time, I'd say 50% of the time, I'm pretty surprised. It's usually better than what the review itself was given.
oh yeah, definitely. And I think of course looking back at it, it wasn't that bad. I think I don't know. I feel like it really was just a different kind of game. Like it was just like you were playing as like kind of the cameraman kind of thing. So it felt
Yep.
different. And I think mm, it was definitely ahead of its time because like having a game where like you're playing as somebody like that's pretty cool. So I think maybe giving it another chance might help out. So yeah, and I
Yeah.
just like how back to Ages of Mayhem, like how back then, like we had pitchforks for that game, but looking back at it from this year, like oh, it's not a bad game. It's definitely a fun little pastime to do. So you know,
Yeah. Or even like you said, marketing too, right? Could be a big factor. I know Jimmy and I have talked about it before. Wind Waker. You know, when Wind Waker first came out, right? It had a completely different trailer when it was like very first like being talked about, right? It had none of that cartoon style, and then whatever happened during development, right? It changed into the Wind Waker that we know nowadays. But yeah, so many people were like, "I'm not playing that because that's not the game I thought it was going to be," and it's like
yeah.
Wind Waker. I mean, yeah, Wind Waker had its moments for sure, but it wasn't as bad, as people made it sound just because they disliked it for its style that it took, right? But again, marketing, right? Like if they didn't have that first trailer release, the view of it might have been a little different.
Yeah, and I definitely I know for a fact like when yeah, Breath of the Wild coming out, like Wind Waker, it's like I mean I guess looking back at it, like it was a very big change, and I think it was for the better. 'Cause, I mean, looking at Breath of the Wild, like it's a very good looking Zelda game. 'Cause, it's like everything about it just looks really good. Like Link looks a lot more humanized. The
Yep.
setting is very more mystical. So like I can see why people will love it. And of course, if you're somebody who is a super boomer, like for them, like their Zelda game of choice is gonna be, you know, um, the second Zelda game. I don't know. I don't know what it's called. I guess I don't know what the like. Let me see what it was. It was
Oh,
something
was it
like
Adventure? The Adventures of Link?
let me see. Second Zelda game. It could have been. Yeah. Maybe I have no idea. I think it was. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Eventually, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, like people, for them, like that is their game of choice because like that's just what they grew up with. And of course,
Yeah.
some people might say Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time. So it's like I can see why some people love the change, and I can kind of see like some people may not like it because to them it's like that's like their childhood was seeing a sprite, like a little 2D model of Link on a flat surface. So but of course, that doesn't mean that the game is bad. Because, as far as I have seen, you know, like my favorite Zelda game is Majora's Mask, but that's only because,
Nice.
it's only because the story, the gimmick, like the whole gimmick of like where, you know, you're in a time limit, like you're in a time limit where you have to learn everybody's story, like kind of learn all these puzzle things like that. Like to me that's fun, being able to kind of branch out, but like there's this whole doom factor of if you fail, you're gonna have this giant face looking at you. Like that's I mean, like I got scared playing the first one. So it's like I think I don't know how far it was, but it's like the moon was like to my face kind of thing. So it was very like very scary.
Oh
But
yeah.
it was a good game because like it gave you the freedom to kind of explore. But it's like also like, hey, remember you're on a time limit. Everything you do matters. So that's why it's a good game to me. But you know, I can see, yeah, I definitely enjoy Tears of the Kingdom. So I enjoy how, it's just more Breath of the Wild. Like, that's just kind of what people wanted, really.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, well, too much either. I get like I think it was Jimmy made the comment that he kind of missed the dungeon aspect of it, which I do get, right? Like I did, like definitely when I play Breath of the Wild, I always feel a little overwhelmed because it's just like it's a lot, right, to explore. But it was fun. The only thing, like I said, I'm pretty much on the same bandwagon as it sounds like a lot of people were, is I just didn't like the weapon. What do you call it? Weapons breaking all the time when you use them. Like I don't know. I've never enjoyed that mechanic. I always just felt like once I have a weapon, like just let me have it. Like I hate when they break, or like when they break to a point that you can't repair them. I
Oh,
know.
no, definitely, yeah. So I get that, yeah. I can, like, I think, I guess in a sense, like, I don't really mind it too much because, I think I'm just, in that, only in that game did it really, like, it kind of made the game more immersive, at least to me though. But yeah, in general though, like, I hate when games do that because, like, for example, with Dead Island, or like, Dying Light, it's like where like where the weapon just becomes unusable. But I mean, it's like, like for example, I was playing Dying Light 2, and my pipe burst. Sorry, it was broken. But I'm like, like, you could still, in a real world scenario, you could still use it. Like, it could still be usable. So, in those kind of cases, it just makes sense to me as all.
No, I'm with you. Like I said, I don't mind if I still have the item and I can repair it and then it's useful again. I think Diablo does that, and I'm pretty sure Dead Island did that. I can't remember now. It's been a while since I played it, but I know for sure Diablo does that, where the item just goes red, then you repair it, and it's all good to go again. But yeah, I hate it when it just like literally breaks and disappears on you. It's like, oh shit.
Oh yeah, I mean but yeah, I don't get that kind of thing. 'Cause, it's like, at least if I was in a zombie scenario and I had a pipe and it burst in two, I mean, like, it's still usable. It may not be as good as it was before, but I mean, you could still, like, throw it at somebody. I don't know, like, just something with it. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
get you. You'd still use it
it kind of,
somewhat.
yeah, yeah, that kind of mechanic just doesn't really work for me. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one.
Um, Yeah. uh, well, I think poor Sleepy. I think she jumped off. I was gonna say pizza if you don't mind, because I'm gonna have to have supper pretty soon. But I wanted to end the podcast on. I had a good question, but since you're here, it'll be good to hear your opinion on it as well. I was trying to think of our end of the night question. What course in school do you think is really important for everyone to take? So, example, like what made me think of this was way, way, way back in the day when I was in high school. I got the one of the privileges of taking a psychology course, and taking that one, and I think like the things I learned through it. I really believe that that should have been like a what do you call it? I guess a required curriculum. I think that's the term they use. Like mandatory, you have to take it. For me,
Yeah,
it was optional at the time I went in high school. I don't know if it's changed since then, but I always thought that that was a good course, just to like understand people. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, math, science, and all that. Like, I get those; those are super, super important. Um, but I also think being able to engage and talk with people and just like understand yourself was also a really crucial course. I don't know. So for me, like my answer to it would be like psychology. I think psychology was a really important um, course to take, and I took away a lot from it in the 2 years that I got to try it out. But as a teacher, right, I was just curious, like, what would be yours that you think most of your students should take?
mm, I want to say, I think the best course that I think some people should take is probably. Hmm, that's a good question, actually, because it's like, I would say, math and reading, but that's kind of a given anyways.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Um,
I know those ones are definitely important, but like if you could shout
yeah.
out one that most people don't think of.
Oh yeah, definitely. I guess maybe, well, I'm a business teacher, so I guess, maybe, learning about business might be helpful because, yeah, I think that's probably a good way because, I mean, everybody here is gonna get a job one day. They're gonna have lots of money to spend. So I think learning about consumer rights, learning about protections you have, learning about how scams are working, how people may be scared of the money, like understanding the basics of consuming and buying stuff. I think that's important because, some people nowadays, I mean, I'm sorry, a lot of kids nowadays, like, little Timmys, they're buying, they're getting certain to buying all these expensive games when they all suck. Like, we should teach them the value of money and teach them how to vote with their wallet, whether it be a video game or be like, bread on the aisle. Maybe the bread sucks. Say, hey, we're not gonna buy bread anymore because it's bad. So maybe they'll do different ingredients. That kind of thing. Like teaching people how to use their money in the best way possible that can make a difference and also you know bring more value to someone's wallet. So yeah, I would just say business
That's a
would be a
great
good
shout.
question out there.
Yeah, no, that is a good one because I don't know if the course is similar to what you're describing, but like in Canada, right? We had three different math levels. So there was the one I'm thinking that is similar to yours was called consumer math, and then we had applied math, and then pre-cal. So basically, it was like video games. It was easy, medium, hard. And I remember everyone used to make fun of consumer, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're an idiot if you're in that one." But like, it was a fucking good course. Again, I don't know, some of these might be Canadian terms, but we got to learn about, like you said, budgets. I remember one of the big projects was kind of cool. We basically got these little slips of paper, and they all said a job that you had. So like some of us got like CEO of a company, but some of us also got like janitor and things like that, right? And you all had to make like your monthly budgets on. You had to be able to spend money on food, rent, you had to put some away for entertainment. You had to be like real about it, right? Like you said, you can't just say you're going to put zero on entertainment because everybody needs something. You have to either rent movies, you have to either do whatever, play video games. There has to be some kind of budget put to that. Just like food, you can't just say you're going to eat craft dinner. And like our teacher made us go all out with it. Like we had to go through flyers and find deals, and it was a big report. But it was good because when I moved out, I took some skills and some knowledge away from that one. And then we also got to learn about like RSPs, so retirement savings plans, and why they're important to have, why it's important to plan for your future. And like, I don't know, it was a lot of it was common sense for sure. But like, I felt like I took away a lot from that too. We also got to learn about taxes, and go a little more in depth with them and find loopholes on how to save money. So yeah, I don't know. A lot of my friends made fun of it, but then like by the time we got to senior level, they were all fucking in that course because yeah, they realized there was a lot of benefits, right, to learning that math.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, even now, my kids, I have seniors, so for them, a lot of them, they already have jobs, so they already have like half the battle done. I'm just going to teach them how to do things like manage taxes or being able to essentially, you know, live within their means, spend money accordingly. So yeah, I agree. Having like whatever you like, the things you have for your teacher, that was a good idea. Giving people a chance to really, to kind of, put their finances out there and kind of figure out, okay, how much would I need to save to do this or that? And, is this job going to pay me enough to live comfortably? And if not, what job can I find, you know, down the road 5 years later? Like that kind of thing. So yeah, that's a good idea. But yeah, business is probably the biggest thing, whether it be consumer business or like just enterprise, like just learning something about how the business world works would definitely help people understand, just a bit more about how products are being made, understanding why prices are the way they are. Just like, no, just that way, so they become more knowledgeable in how to avoid falling in those little traps that people make.
Yeah, totally true. I mean, even sometimes just the simple mindset of, like, well, if I don't pay my rent, it's not the end of the world. It's like, no, it kind of is the end of the world. Actually, you gotta pay your
Oh,
rent.
yeah.
You can't screw up that bill because this is the impact it's gonna have on your credit. Down the road.
Yeah, no, you're right. And, kids don't, I think for a lot of kids, some of them, well, at least, sorry, at least down here, I don't know how the culture is in Canada, but I know that in Texas, a lot of kids, like they have this, their culture is they're with mom and dad until they become, like, until they get married and they move out, which I mean,
Yeah,
that's cool, that's whatever. And so, so to them, like, they don't think about things like rent or bills. But what they don't understand, is that one day it's going to be you living on your own. And so you got to figure out how to do all this kind of stuff because, you know, sooner or later, you're going to find yourself getting a credit card, moving out, getting a house or an apartment. and you're going to have bills to pay. So if you can't do it now, others, if you don't learn it now, then, who knows what might happen in the future. So, I want to prepare people for the inevitable, because it's going to happen. And I think by learning all of these little different money and finance lingo, learning about, how money works, all that stuff, it will definitely help them in the long run, which is what I'm aiming for.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a good shout. That is definitely a good course to have under your belt. Um, well, Pizza, thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate you sticking around and yeah, giving your time today. It was really nice talking with you. Um, I love that we have the same gaming background because it definitely makes these conversations so much easier. So every time you say like, oh, my point might be a little bit out there, it's like, no, man, like I 100% agree with you on most of the things you say. I think you hit the nail on the head on a lot of the subjects.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I like hanging with you guys too, just because it's like I think it's nice to have somebody who, of course you can agree with. You can kind of really get your point across, and it's not them saying, "Yeah, I get it," and just like out of they just start thinking out the other. So yeah, like
So
I know that at
true.
work, yeah, it's like at my job, like so it's a very diverse kind of setting, so like we have some teachers who have never touched a game in their life. Then we have some people whose game was only Pac-Man. So, so it's like, kind of, talking about gaming is like, it's hit or miss. And even then it's like, you may have a boomer who just plays like Atari games, which, I do too, but even then though I have more than just Atari under my belt. So, you know, being around you guys, where it's all about gaming, it's all about having fun, just kind of talking about other things here and there. Yeah, it's nice to do that.
I agree with you. Yeah, it's definitely the same kind of like culture at my work too. Different people playing. Like you said, there's some boomers that still are really passionate about Nintendo, and then there's other people that are like, "Yeah, have you played the new Switch game?" It's like, nope. But yeah, yeah. Thank you, Pizza. Like I said, I appreciate talking to you tonight, and I hope you have a good evening.
Oh yeah, man. Same to you, man. Same to you. Hopefully, well, I'm gonna say hopefully. What am I saying? I'll text you guys later on, and then yeah, we'll just, I'll keep in touch with you guys until the next podcast.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully soon we can all play a game together. It'd be nice to
Oh,
play some with you guys.
oh yeah, I know for a fact that my last day is Thursday,
Oh
so
wow.
yeah, so I think Friday. Yeah, I think on Friday I'll actually have time to play something. So yeah, we'll definitely get something going on.
All right. All right. Nice. All right, buddy. Well, you have a good evening.
Oh, yeah, man. You too. You take care.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, bye.
And there we go. Just exit out of that one there. Alrighty. Well, sorry about the moment there where I screwed up and it was just me breathing into the mic. That must have been lovely to hear. Can't wait to edit that part out. Um, Cheyenne, you were my backup there. What happened? But yeah, thank you guys so much for hopping on and watching and viewing and being a part of this. I saw at one point I was up to 8 viewers. Thank you. That's so cool. I'm kind of excited that the podcast is building up a little bit of a trend. Again, if you haven't, play Agents of Mayhem. Give it a chance. Don't be that kind of dink that's just gonna listen to reviews and not try it. Pick it up, like Cat Trooper said, Jesse, JW, whatever term you want to use. Um, it's $3. It's usually on sale. So what do you got to lose? It's a great game. I can't shout it out enough right now. I'm gonna put the Mindful Pig stamp of approval. I'm gonna put my name on this one. I'm gonna say it's definitely a game you should try, and I guarantee you're probably gonna enjoy it more than you expect. With that, I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully, for Mobile Wednesday. If not, I will see you either Thursday, Friday, Monday, or Tuesday on the next Twitch stream that you choose to hop on. Yeah, hope you guys have a beautiful night, and I will see you next time. Bye.